Have you ever felt like your life was this perfectly calm, predictable lake? You know, totally still, but maybe just a little too quiet. Well, Elif Shafak's incredible novel, The 40 Rules of Love, is all about what happens when a single stone gets tossed into those still waters.
And this, right here, is the book's central, powerful idea. Think about it. A river is already moving, right? It barely even notices a little disruption. But a still, calm lake, one single event can send ripples out that change absolutely everything, forever.
And for one woman, a 40-year-old American housewife, the stone that shatters the calm surface of her life isn't some huge, dramatic event. It's actually something much quieter. It's a manuscript about a 13th century poet and his mystical friend.
So let's meet our main character, Ella Rubinstein. For 2 decades, her life has looked like the picture of suburban perfection. She is that still lake, you know? Her whole life is just this predictable routine of habits, needs, and what everyone expects of her.
I mean, on the surface, it's perfect. She and her husband have built this comfortable world, joint bank accounts, insurance plans, a beautiful house. But deep down, Ella knows something is missing. There's a void. And she's basically convinced herself, like maybe a lot of us do, that in a long marriage, practical things like affection and forgiveness just matter more than real passion and love.
But everything starts to change when Ella gets a part-time job as a reader for a literary agency. Her very first assignment is this novel called Sweet Blasphemy by an author nobody's ever heard of. And reading it, well, it's like opening a door to a completely different world and a completely different story.
And this is where the book structure is just so brilliant. It's actually telling 2 stories at the same time. In one timeline, we have Ella in the 21st century, who starts emailing the author of this book, and it completely changes her life. And in the other, we're transported all the way back to the 13th century, to the actual story she's reading, this profound, transformative friendship between the famous scholar Rumi and a wandering, kind of radical mystic named Shams of Tabriz. So this story from the past, that's where we get to the real philosophical heart of the book. It's all about the wisdom of this mysterious dervish, Shams of Tabriz. And that wisdom is broken down into a set of ideas that give the novel its name, the 40 Rules of Love.
So what is it? What's the biggest thing that holds us back from finding that deep, life-changing love that Shams talks about? Well, according to his teachings, it's not our job, it's not other people, it's not even a lack of faith. Nope, it's something much, much closer to home. It's something inside every one of us. The biggest barrier is what's called the nafs, which is basically our ego. Shams teaches that the most important journey you can ever take, the real battle, is the one to overcome your own ego. You know, all our built-in selfishness, our quick judgments, and our deepest, darkest fears.
And that brings us to one of the most important rules. Your intellect, your mind. Shams argues it just ties you up in knots. It's cautious. It's always calculating, trying to keep you safe. But love? Oh, love just dissolves all the knots and risks everything. To find the real truth, you've got to learn to listen to your heart.
And really, what this all comes down to is that Shams's philosophy isn't about being this perfect, flawless person who follows all the rules. It's about loving God's creation in all its messiness. And that includes other people with all their imperfections, because at the end of the day, there's no real wisdom without love.
So how does this radical way of thinking actually change someone's life? Well, it happens when someone comes along who basically holds up a mirror to your soul. Okay, so before their big meeting, Rumi was the guy. I mean, he was a super respected master, thousands of people admired him, and he was living this life of total certainty and fame. He thought he had all the answers.
But after Shams, everything just shatters and gets rebuilt from the ground up. The rigid scholar completely disappears. He becomes a poet, a mystic, a voice for a kind of universal love that goes beyond any religion. He's the guy who even invents the ecstatic dance of the whirling dervishes. He is utterly and completely transformed.
Shams explains that this kind of transformation happens when you find your mirror. And this isn't just a soulmate in the romantic sense. It's someone who reflects back to you not what you have, but what's missing, that empty space in your soul you've been too afraid to even look at. For Rumi, that mirror was Shams.
And this is where the 2 stories just connect so beautifully. As Ella reads about Rumi and Shams, their story becomes her mirror. It forces her to finally see the passion and the connection that are missing in her own life. And that feeling gets even stronger as she starts falling for the book's mysterious author, Aziz. So, this brings us to the real question, right? Why does an 800-year-old story hit so hard today? It's because the wisdom of Shams isn't just for 13th century mystics, it's absolutely timeless.
The book gives us these powerful, practical lessons. It reminds us that the most important journey we'll ever take is the one inside ourselves, that we shouldn't be afraid when things fall apart, because sometimes a broken heart is where you find treasure, and that heaven and hell, they aren't some far-off places. They are right here, right now, in every moment we choose to love or to hate.
Ultimately, the 40 Rules of Love brings us all back to this one huge, profound question. What are we even doing here? What's the whole point of our existence?
And the final rule says it all. A life without love is a life that doesn't count. And it doesn't matter what kind of love it is. Spiritual, romantic, for a friend, whatever. All those labels just create more division. Love in its purest form is the reason we're here. It's the goal of life itself. So the question the book leaves us with is this: what barriers have you built against it?